Hey, welcome everybody. Okay, this is our first foray into the digital world of streaming content. We have so many incredible people that we want to share with you, create some community since we're all sheltering at home. Until we can get back together again and resume CFAA's regular meetings, we want to bring you some conversation. So we created this CFAA Film Talk. We've got a couple of programs already in the works, and this will be the first one to kick it off. What we're going to do tonight, we have Chris King and his wife Heather King, his producing partner with Watermark Films. Chris has been working in this region for a really long time. He's going to be here to do some Q&A and answer some questions, just, talk a little bit after the movie. But we're going to actually screen it for you now because it's 19 minutes. It's worth watching more than once if you've already seen it. And we really want to kind of get that fresh in people's mind to see that content and then move into the conversation with Chris afterwards. Okay? So with that said, we're going to go into the Q&A and more information for you later. Check out this incredible short film that will work its way into your heart, I promise you. And come back when it's over so that we can continue the conversation with filmmaker Chris King. Thanks.
Hey, Chris, can you, I think, turn the sound on it?
Get the luggage on. So long, pumpkins.
There we go.
Can we start over?
Chris, can you I think you have to unmute yourself.
Might as well just send us some money. We're gonna need that. Oh no, Mama, can't you just take care? Love you. Bye, Mama. Bye, Mama. So it was just you and your grandmother then? Well, that's right. Nanny was a world-class worrywart and a hypochondriac, but a lovable one. She always thought she was gonna die. Grandma? Grandma? Nanny? With Mama and Daddy out in California and Nanny constantly predicting her own doom, I was afraid she actually would die on me.
Sounds like you came from some pretty humble beginnings.
Well, the whole country was recovering from the Depression, so we were poor along with everyone else. But Nanny still managed to scrounge together enough quarters for us each week to practically live at the movie theater. I mean, I swear we averaged 8 movies a week, sometimes double features. And after the show would let out, occasionally we'd scope out the lobby until the coast was clear to make a withdrawal from the ladies' room as a much-needed household item. We weren't proud of it, but we were the Bonnie and Clyde of toilet paper thievery. Out in California, Daddy just wouldn't find work or lay off the hooch, and Mama had had enough. So by the time Nanny and I finally got out there, she and Daddy had split. I didn't see him much after that, but he was always kind to me, and I liked the times when he came to visit. After the divorce, Mama met a new fella, and pretty soon had a baby on the way. She was head over heels for him, but he eventually skipped out on her, leaving her heartbroken and with another mouth to feed. But I was happy. I mean, I had a new baby sister, my cousin lived nearby, and I had my own private radio show that I broadcast daily out of my bedroom window. And if things got too crazy, I always had our apartment rooftop to climb out on. I'd just sit out there and look to the Hollywood sign in the distance and dream about being famous one day.
If I remember correctly, you all lived in that apartment building for some time, right?
Oh, a long time, yeah. In high school, I was so embarrassed by our cluttered little space that you can bet I did my best to keep friends out of there, especially when Mom had had a drink or two.
Speaking of Carol, Her Majesty has arrived. Thought you were waiting in the hall. Thought he was waiting in the hall. You ready? No, hold on a second. You're always rushing people out of here so fast. Give me a chance to meet who's taking out my little girl here. Now, you said you two met, what, in history? Oh, for heaven's sakes, Louise. He said it was English class just 2 minutes ago. Well, excuse me for living. Not like you remember everything.
English. Yes, ma'am. Carol's the best writer in our class. Heck, probably the whole school.
I see, that is a smart move. Because I told her, even though she's pining for theater and all that, journalism is a good backup plan because it doesn't matter what you look like as a writer. Right, sugar?
Wow, that had to have hurt.
Yeah, I'd be lying if I said it didn't, but I never doubted that she loved me. You know, I think she was just so disappointed that her writing career never panned out. And you know, I don't think she ever got over that beau who left her heartbroken with a baby to raise.
With all that going on, I bet the escape of acting had to have been a welcome distraction. But you started in journalism, didn't you?
Yeah, that's right. I kept my theater aspirations to myself until I was a semester or two into college. As far as Nanny and Mama were concerned, the only sensible occupations a girl could have were to be a writer or someone's secretary. But once I confessed to my change in major, they eventually came around to the idea. And Mama didn't make it to as many of my performances as I'd have liked, but Nanny and Chrissy still made a great cheer section.
How about your dad? How did he take to you doing theater?
Oh, well, Daddy never saw me perform. It was the least of his worries, believe me. Tuberculosis had set in after years of drinking and the damage that had done to his immune system. But I did go to visit him right before I left for New York and told him that when he got better, I had reserved him a front row seat to my Broadway debut. So, with bags in hand and frightened knees a knocking, off to New York City I went.
Did you know anyone there, or did you just kind of go on a wing and a prayer?
How I wish I had. But after blowing money on a hotel the first few nights, I heard about a boarding house for budding actresses. At $18 a week, it was a steal. And it was great to be surrounded by other girls, all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed to make it in business. Shortly after arriving, I remembered a friend of mine had told me about an actor acquaintance of his who I should look up. Eddie Foy Jr. Eddie was a well-known actor from a prominent theater family. So when I read in the trades that he was doing a show in town, I grabbed my coat and headed out. It was raining buckets, but I was determined to meet anyone who could help me get an agent. I was lucky to get a few minutes with Eddie, but oh boy, if I could go back and do it again. I got your name from my friend Jack Shea out in California. He said that I should talk to you because, well, he said you were a really nice guy. And the thing is, I want to get in the business of do, but I can't figure out how because every time I go to see an agent, they say, well, let me know when you're in something. But I can't get in something unless I get an agent, so I don't know what to do.
All right. But I'll tell you right now, if you're just starting out, you're going to have to catch your teeth on some chorus work.
Chorus, the thing about that is that I don't really dance and I can't read music, but and supporting work isn't really what I do.
Kid, you're fresh off the boat. You don't have a say.
Right, but it's just I'm best in featured situations, right, where I can do my thing front and center.
Aren't we all? Yeah. Look, kid, everyone starts at the bottom. That's the way it is. You'll get used to it. Now, there's an acting coach over on 40th and
I
Broadway.
really appreciate your time, Mr. Foy. I really do. It's just that starring roles are great for me because I can connect.
Look, Karen.
It's Carol.
Carol, by your own admission, you don't read music, you don't dance, you don't do chorus work.
Right, but what I have done, though, is...
It's how I started out. It's how everybody starts out.
Yeah, but it's just that starring roles really are what I do best.
After that painful display of audacity and naivete, Eddie was still kind enough to send me to his agent, who quickly dismissed me for my inexperience. I just needed to do the unavoidable, and that was audition for anything and everything. Oh, I had my scrapbook of newspaper clippings from college and not much else. Competition, it was an endless parade of talented young women, all trained singers and dancers who I thought were a lot easier on the eye than I was. Oh, it was just rejection after rejection, and then I got a call.
Uh-oh.
Well, from the sound of my mother's voice, I thought Nanny had passed, but it was Daddy, just 3 months after I left for New York.
Oh, geez, so young.
Just 47. After all that drinking, his body had just given up. We couldn't afford a train ticket for me to go home, so I missed the funeral. And Mama had become pretty sickly at that point from her constant drinking. She would every so often swear she was going to quit. And then she'd get the shakes, and back on the bottle she'd go. And Nanny was practically raising Chrissy by herself.
Wow, so things were pretty tough back at home.
Well, they weren't much better in New York either. I was worried about my family. I felt guilty I wasn't there to help them. I was working for peanuts as a hat check girl, and I couldn't get an agent, and I was constantly wondering if I was fooling myself about my talent. But just when I was going to throw in the towel and head home, the door opened.
Hey, before you get away. I want to tell you that I told Gus he made a mistake with you.
Oh,
Ken Welch, pianist, vocal coach at Gus and Sandy.
no, Burnett.
I thought you were terrific in there.
Oh my gosh, thank you, Mr. Welch.
I gotta get back in, but here's an offer I don't extend every day. Go to the store, get a pad of blank receipts, and each time I train you, we'll fill out a receipt for payment.
Oh, jeez, that's a terrific offer, Mr. Welch, but I don't have any money.
And then, when you make it big one day, I gotta run. Deal or no? Yes or no?
Oh, yes, yes.
Just give me a call after the weekend.
Thank you, Mr. Welch.
You're a real talent, Carol. A real talent. He just doesn't know it yet.
That had to have been encouraging.
Was it ever? I mean, it was just the shot of confidence I needed. Oh, Ken and I worked out a few routines that I could do at various auditions, and we even got chosen to do one of them on the Ed Sullivan show. The same night Elvis was on.
No way.
Oh, yeah. Elvis wouldn't stop nagging me for my autograph. You know, it was the first time I tugged on my ear for Nanny. I missed her terribly, and it was so nice to connect with her over the airwaves. Soon after that, I started making a little money and getting more auditions, including a callback for a brand new musical called Once Upon a Mattress.
Mattress, of course.
But just when things were starting to happen, I got a letter from Nanny begging me to come home. Mama was constantly drunk or sick, and Chrissy was growing up too fast for her own good. Nanny just couldn't handle it all by herself. I thought my New York dream was over.
So what did you do?
Well, after agonizing over the right thing to do, I decided to get creative. I knew I couldn't just pass up the opportunity of being in a big show like that and forever wonder what might have been. It had been my dream to be in a George Abbott-directed musical, and this was my chance. So I went to the callback audition, and I got the part. I couldn't believe it. It was my first Broadway musical, and me in the lead role.
Directed by George Abbott.
Mr. Broadway himself.
Okay, Shifting gears, self-doubt. Did you ever have it in those early years?
Oh my goodness, of course. It would take me into next week to list all the ways I doubted myself. One time in particular that I remember was when I was shooting my first television special with Julie Andrews. This was after I had done my run with Mattress, and I was starting to make a name for myself as a comic actor on various TV shows. So anyway, here I am, set to sing this beautiful ballad of all things in Carnegie Hall. And you know Sound of Music Julie. She's just so elegant and gorgeous and classy, and I'm just so not. Well, I've been playing a goofball and a comic relief character on television for so long that, frankly, I felt like a fraud singing as myself. I was scared to death as to how it would be received.
What are you so nervous about?
You know how uncomfortable I am singing ballads, especially when I'm all dolled up.
I don't understand your reticence, really. You have an amazing voice.
Thank you, truly. It's just, it's like the clown taking the bread ball off the end of his nose and asking the audience to take him seriously because he's going to read them a sonnet.
The fact that you are funny does not make you a clown, nor does it make you one-dimensional, but you clearly are not.
The implication of me singing a ballad by myself is that I think my voice is worthy. Ballads are for people with lovely voices, not voices like mine.
Oh, you're simply stunning.
Oh, you know. Happened, but not to me. Before I was born, a lot of things happened that I didn't happen to see. And after I'm gone, a lot of things will happen. A lot of things will happen. Oh, Lord, amen. Yes, after I'm gone, a lot of things will happen that I won't know about then. So it's the meantime. All they gave me is that in between time for my loving and my living. Gotta do it in the time I'm given. Meantime may mean nothing to posterity, but in the meantime, doing nothing sure is a worrying. The way the times are hurrying, meantime sure is a worrying me.
That audience reception had me put a little smile on your face.
Smile? Yeah. Little? No. You big smile.
Oh, okay. I'm getting the green light to bring you over to the stage now. Thank you so much for this time with you.
Oh, it was my pleasure, dear, really. But who knows? Maybe a college student will be sitting here interviewing you one day.
Oh, geez. That would be awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, the University faculty and staff are proud to present an evening with our legend of the stage and screen. Pioneering women showcase and icons.
Who's funnier, Tim Conway
Conway or Harvey Korman?
Me.
Yeah. Okay. We're still playing.
But I guess so.
Yay! There we are. Oh my God. I've been sitting here clapping. I don't know if you guys can hear me. That's
Yeah, thank you.
such a feel good. I love watching that, and not only because you're telling just a sweet story and it's so familiar, it makes my heart yearn for her entertainment days. But you have packed this with the most incredible talent, both on screen and behind the camera. I want you to talk about that because I'm so impressed. This film in itself, if you guys don't know, Chris is the king of film festivals, and this one was starting off to be another contender with 35 acceptances to film festivals before the world ended and everything shut down. And so this is one of the reasons that we wanted to make sure we share this film. It's such a great evidence of your abilities and your art. And I think everybody should know what kind of homegrown talent we have and, you know, where you are and what you're up to. So I want to toss it over to you. Let me see, is there anything else I want to, oh, Pipe Dream is the name of the movie. I don't know if we actually said that out loud. And it stars Lisa Ferris, who is not local, but she could not be better in that role. She could not. And then, of course, you know, I love Eric Wheeler is one of my favorites of all times. Maggie Upton is the mom. I love her. We have so many local actors that made their impact in the movie too. So I really enjoyed seeing that. What did inspire you for this? I do want to, you know, because you had some hurdles in even trying to create this content. So talk a little bit about that too. But, you know, just I'm going to hand it to you to talk about this movie, and then you let it bleed into whatever else you think makes sense. And if you had questions that come up through the Facebook feed, then I don't know if you can see them. Can he see them, Reggie?
You can just pass them on to us.
Okay, cool. We'll make sure that right now it's all just a lot of bravo. I love it. Great. Ton of icons that are happy faces. Awesome. Yay. A lot of peer feedback and attributes. So that's great. Yay.
Yeah.
Okay. So get me off the screen because I don't dig this. Put it to Chris and let's talk to you and Heather.
Yeah, you want to talk about hurdles, like you said. This has been 8 years worth of constant hurdles, but you know, some of them have been very good hurdles in the forms of other films that we've been working on, which have, you know, we've been blessed to have that they've done very well, also, and have had long film festival runs. Wife and co-producer and editor, the real powers that be here at Watermark Films, Heather. Anyway, we just, are having a great time making our films. And this one, again, started about 8 years ago. The inspiration for it, really, I was just kind of watching one of those infomercials that, Carol does on occasion on like Time Life magazine, DVD, Carol Burnett show, buy the whole thing. And so I got to thinking about Carol. And of course, I've always loved her show, along with millions of other people. And I got to thinking about, how can I do a short film with Carol Burnett? It always
starts off short.
And this look between us is very understandable, because I unfortunately pick topics that are way too ambitious sometimes, and I think in my mind that I'll be able to make it smaller.
And I always know better.
Right.
I always know the project will be, so much bigger, but he pulls it off.
Right. Well, you know what? And so again, this started 8 years ago, and I just started researching and reading every book and article and documentary and everything that I could get my hands on about Carol, because I, of course, wanted to see if it was worth doing. I've always said, if Carol, in my research, if I discovered that Carol was a spoon-fed Richie, I wouldn't have been interested in making the film. But she was absolutely the complete opposite, just a very dirt poor background and from San Antonio, and just, both parents dead by the time they're in their early 40s, and, a hypochondriac, just a very interesting, eccentric grandmother, didn't know anyone, and took that huge chance of going to New York, like so many thousands and thousands of young women and men do every single year, to take that leap of faith and test their talents on Broadway or in Los Angeles. So that's how I got interested in Carol's story. A huge fan all my life, wanted to check out what kind of a background she had, and then try to encapsulate her life in a short film. So you have some. No.
Go ahead, Lori, jump in.
Yeah. Go ahead, Lori.
No, totally the inspiration of that, because one of the questions that has come up alludes to the struggles that you've had with the film. Ideally, you would want this to be approved by Carol, and to get her, accommodation for, hey, look what you did, and I love this. I don't know why she wouldn't, to be honest. But one person is asking if if Miss Burnett has seen it. And then another question from Ed Fletcher is, what rights did you get for Carol Burnett's story?
What rights did I get?
Mm-hmm.
To answer that question, I got absolutely no rights from Carol Burnett to make this film. But through a few attorneys that we contacted in order to do this film, we learned an awful lot legally on how we could do this film and how to do it legally, while covering our tushes. And so we did get a lot of legal help. Yeah, sure. It was disappointing to not get Carol's approval or interest, but I gotta say, from Carol's camp, from her managers to her agents to her people who handle Carol Burnett, Carol's aware of the film, from what we understand. We have no idea whether she has actually seen it or not. It would surprise us if she hasn't seen it. But they told us from day one, years ago, that Carol has 1 million requests every day from somebody about something.
Yeah.
And
it's not personal. It's nothing against any particular filmmaker. She just has a blanket statement of like, I'm not doing personal stories. I've done my official versions, and I get requests every day. So I just do a blanket no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we understand that.
And another question, Steve Orsino's asking if you've considered expanding it to a full feature. And I think that was your plan originally, right?
No, it was never a plan to do a full feature. That would have even gotten into even greater legal challenges. And you know what? With this thing, and with many of our films, I've always had just a short film in mind. Heather and I are both full-time.
The dog has a squeaky.
Full-time workers, and we have 2 kids, so we're extremely busy people like everyone else is. So we just really don't have time to do feature length films. And so I always thought of this as a short film.
Another question. So we have Sacramento Film Commissioner Jennifer West on the line. And Jennifer is asking, when was this shot?
This was shot over the course of 6 years. And I say that because we did 3 other short films during the time we were filming this. It was over the weekends. It was stop and go. Actually, this was originally supposed to be only 9 to 10 minutes long. And we shot it for those 9 to 10 minutes. I assembled it together. I'm an editor myself. I put it all together. And boy, it did not make any much sense. It was, beautifully, filmed and everything. Very happy with the shots that we got, but it was just 9 minutes was way too short. It provided way too many questions rather than answers. So we're like, God, we've come this far with so many people and props and costumes and cars. That if we're going to do it, let's just do it right and expand it to whatever it needs to be. Now, the final run time was like 27 minutes long. And we originally put that 27-minute version out, but it was a disaster because it was way too long. Once we butchered about 8 minutes off of it, then it opened the floodgates and was accepted to a lot of film festivals.
Yeah, I remember that version. And at one point, how many different versions of Carol did you have?
How many different versions of Pipe Dream?
No, of the actress at different ages.
That's
one of the things that I think is really critical to what you did a great job of pulling together is this young girl at every possible age up until
I see.
Late life,
Right. Well, Olivia Benz, little Olivia, she played young Carol, and she's just fantastic. She's just a burst of hilarious energy.
And because we shot over so many years, we got to have her at a younger age and a little bit older age, which worked well for the story.
It was kind of serendipitous that way, yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Okay. Jennifer is asking, and I think all of it was shot. Her question is how much was shot in Sacramento? And that this is amazing. So that's her comment. But wasn't it all shot in Sacramento?
Everything.
Yeah, a little bit in, greater Sacramento, a little bit up in Woodland. A little out in
tiny,
sort of thing.
Tiny little bit, but all of it, in the
Sacramento,
Placer, Yuba areas, yes. And like you said earlier, Lisa was our only out-of-town talent, because we literally had to come in. It's Carol Burnett we're casting for here, so we put out a nationwide search, and we got hundreds of responses. And so once we saw Lisa's audition tape, it's pretty funny in a great, oh my God, there's our Carol Burnett sort of discovery way.
Yeah, but everybody else is local because we always, there's so much talent here. We always want to make sure that we got the local crew.
Right.
I love that. I love to see that. And you've got, so this one now we're putting out there. Oh, there was a question. Hold on. Theodonis Moquette wants to know, what was your biggest challenge with the process of filming and how did you overcome it? So
it cut out a little bit. Can you repeat the question, please?
What was the biggest challenge with the process of filming and how did you overcome it?
From my perspective, it seemed like getting the script together. Just because Chris read mountains of information. And how do you take information that's just monumental and condense it down to a story that's this short, and what to chop out? And there were so many iterations of the script. And because we originally thought it was going to be a shorter piece, then, some scenes were shot and didn't maybe fit quite what it evolved into, but we already have these scenes. So how do we make this work? And, we filmed so much that ended up on the cutting room floor just because it didn't survive the iterations of the script. So from my perspective, it seemed like just trying to take this, again, a mountain of information and make it into a short.
It also was way more expensive to shoot than we had ever thought.
Don't shoot period pieces. Just don't.
Me and my period pieces.
Hi, Killing of Mary Surratt.
Right, right.
Well, and that was funny. When we were shooting Mary Surratt, set in 1860s, I kept joking, saying like, oh, we're in Sacramento. We have all this historical info. It's so much easier to shoot 1860s than it would be 1960s. So we tested it out.
Yeah.
It was a lot harder and more expensive.
Yeah. And then the actual, one of the biggest challenges was actually trying to get out information about Carol without being too force-fed or heavy-handed. Now, of course, we have the voiceover by Lisa as older Carol. So that was a device that, you know, I went back and forth on, because I'm not a voiceover person. I hate that. But there's just so much information that my shorter version wasn't getting out. So I had to rewrite the living daylights out of it and convey that backstory information just so that we got to know a lot more about Carol. As a result, filming an older Carol became a very tricky prospect, because what age do we show her? Do we show, you know, you got to be very careful on how you portray older Carol. I don't want to make her look 197 years old. So it was a real fine line in how we were going to portray her. But yeah, we're happy with what the makeup artists and special effects makeup artists and hair did for Lisa. And yeah.
So good. Let's see. Can you reveal what the budget of the film was? I got to say, I know that Chris works on a pretty lean budget, but he's one of the filmmakers, local filmmakers, who always makes a point to pay his cast and crew, which, you know, in a short film environment, that's often hard to find.
We're looking at each other because actually, actually we're known actually for not having a budget for cast and crew. Our spirit has always been, we're Chris and Heather from Roseville. We're making a play and we're going to film it. Who wants to join us and have fun? Yeah. You know, because, you know, we wish we could. We wish we could pay everybody scale, you know,
or half scale,
or even half scale. But, you know, we just write plays and we film them for the fun of it, because we want to get out stories, and we want to, well, we feel good about getting out the talents,
right,
of the Sacramento area, whether they're actors or art directors. Heidi Boucher is one of the most amazing, I would say, one of the most amazing art directors in the area. So there's a wonderful talent pool in all of the crafts of filmmaking in this area. So yeah, again, we wish we had money to pay everybody what they deserve.
But instead we give them like our big thanks.
Yeah, we give them our big thanks, our big love. We feed them very well. And we get their films out at film festivals. And film festivals is an extremely expensive part of the whole filmmaking process for us.
What is your, so Ed wants to know what's your festival submission success rate? And I mean, maybe you can go back, because you kind of got blocked in the center of this particular film going out and seeing, you know, whatever you reaped and what you'll sow. But the film that you had the most experience with was Birthday. So maybe just a brief feedback of that will give Ed an idea of what you've done in the past. And I think, honestly, where Pipe Dream could have gone too if it continues. So
yeah, well, you know what? We've just been having a great time making our little hobby films here for the last 15 years or so now. And so I'll say, without I've got a lot of experience submitting to film festivals and dealing with the whole film festival submission process. And you're right, Birthday was our greatest experience with film festivals, because the success rate of our short film called Birthday was probably around, not even quite 50%, It was about 45% success rate. Now, from what I understand, and from what I've read, the average success rate is like 4 to 8%. And a couple of our short films have had that horrible 4 to 8% success rate.
It's not horrible. It's just more. It's just what happens more often.
Thank you for correcting me. You're right.
I mean, Birthday was just amazing. It hit over 160 festivals, and it was just lightning in a bottle, and it was, amazing cast and crew, and that was just like a once in a lifetime kind of an experience. But even with Birthday, I mean, there's still tons that we got rejected from.
Yeah.
I mean, there's festivals we've never been able to make it into after all these years of festival submissions. And
who are they? I want to tell them how stupid they are.
We're going to start a campaign. No, I mean, it's just nuts. Chris is a machine on submitting to the festivals. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head. Sorry. But I mean, he just puts it out there and out there and out there. And I think his skin's so thick now that, we're rejected from more festivals than we get into, even on the really successful ones. And that's just, part of what it is.
Yeah. With about 160 acceptances for Birthday, I still submitted to about 350 of them. So, I mean, that's 200 rejections right there. But that's just the nature. That's just the nature of it. I mean, we made a lot of additional film friends during Birthday's run, and a lot of those film friends were nominated for the Academy Award for their short films. And even in speaking with them, they're like, "Oh my gosh, actually, your success rate blew us out of the water. I'm nominated for an Academy Award, and you got accepted to way more festivals than we did. We got it rejected by a ton of them." So it is so relative. It is so you just don't know what some film festival screeners, how they're going to respond to your work, to your pride and joy.
It's lightning in a bottle for sure, but you have certain elements that really can catch fire, and you've managed to do that consistently. So I every time you come up with something, I'm so excited to see what it is and where it's going. So hopefully we can help push, the audience out for Pipe Dream, because I think it should be seen. I think Carol should, hear from Sacramento and beyond. And then also, you've got another project in the works that you've also had on your plate for a long time. Tell us a little bit about that, because I think that's something people will be really excited about. Hold on, let me check on a question here really quick. So Diodonis wants to know, what advice would you give to the aspiring filmmakers who wish to work with larger production team members?
Team?
And how to work with larger, like Hollywoodish kind of productions?
I guess. And that's, ironically, if people don't know, Chris and Heather produced a feature film their first time out called Touching Down. That was how we met.
What were we thinking?
And
that was out of pure naivete that we started everything with a feature film and have been doing short films ever since.
Keep in mind, Chris has a full-time job working at Channel 3. So it's not like, he's got a lot of extra time. He told me one time, and I use this analogy often when I'm talking to others to try and kind of relate to it, is you said, some people golf.
Right. Or scuba dive or what have you. Yeah.
Right. So realizing that you can compartmentalize, but at the same time, do such an incredible job, because a lot of people who have to compartmentalize can't improve their craft as quickly as they could if that was the only thing that they were doing.
Right.
So I would say for somebody who wanted to get more involved in a larger
someone who wanted to get more involved
in larger productions.
In larger productions, I don't know. We're about to hopefully figure that out ourselves here, because even during Pipe Dream and the 8 years that it's taken to do, and the 3 other short films that we were doing during Pipe Dream, I've also been researching for the last 5 years the Dorothea Puente story. She's the infamous serial killer here in Sacramento. And so I'm done with a script for that now, and we almost have a pretty famous actress attached to play Dorothea. So even though we have that first feature that we did 15 years ago, that was a very, very indie no budget level. With this Puente project, this is a whole different beast. This is going to be, you know, a few million for the budget alone to try to do yet another period piece, 1988 period piece.
It just keeps getting harder.
It just keeps getting bigger and bigger. But anyway, so I am contradicting myself what I said earlier about, you know, just having jobs and kids and not having time to do feature films. So we've been doing short films. You know what? We've had a long run of doing shorts now. We would like to do another feature. And, you know, we're very excited about the script that we've got going right now. So we're actually in the process of discovering how to go about this, attaching talent, agents, etc. This is a beast that we don't quite know yet. So we're reaching out to a lot of people to hopefully get a lot of questions answered ourselves.
Excellent. Well, I can tell you the person that asked that question, Diodonis, is incredibly skilled. So when you're looking to fill your crew, he's somebody I would highly recommend. And, you know, you can come to me and I'll give you the skinny on who you need to get on your team. You already know who to get on your team.
Right.
This last one is definitely, Pipe Dream is showing that you are pulling them in, and, you know, just to get the kind of talent that you had working on that impressed me.
I just want to jump in for a sec. I love the cast and crew that we gather on each film because, you know, again, because we come from that spirit of we're throwing a film, who wants to come play?
Right.
It's really people who come because they love the craft, they love storytelling, they love the community spirit of it. And I mean, I just look around on these days when we're filming and it's exhausting and we're hungry and we're losing the light and all these things are going on and everybody's there because they just love it. And they're just the coolest people to be with, the coolest creative community, talented community. So, I mean, I just like, that's my favorite part is on the shoot days and just getting to, you know, kind of have the gangs together. And, you know, whether that be people that we've worked with on several projects or new folks that are coming in, I mean, we just love expanding the circles.
And like you said, the talent pool here in the Sacramento area is just gigantic. Hence, that's why everyone other than Lisa Ferris, it makes up all of our actors in Pipe Dream. Mm-hmm. And while it's a pleasure to be working with some solid people that have just come through with us every single film, like Eric Wheeler, it's just amazing. It was wonderful to be able to work with other people that I've been wanting to work with, Julie Anker, Maggie Upton, Eric Sundquist is another wonderful actor. So this was even bigger than Mary Surratt. So this was a cast of almost like 100 people, all told. So there's plenty of talent in this area. Again, it was only that we needed a national call that we needed to do that for the Carol Burnett character.
Yeah. Greg Pear. Oh, Jennifer, we will, there's a link to the movie that's on our Facebook invite. You can retrieve that if you want to view that again or share that. Greg Parrish wants to know what keeps you going.
A little bit of methamphetamines and crack. What do you like? What keeps me going? You know what? I grew up as an artist when I was a little kid. And that's all I did all the time in my bedroom, drawing. And then that morphed into actually poetry. And then that morphed into writing. And then I went back to art. And then screenwriting came into my life. And then filmmaking. To me, film is the ultimate, the ultimate artist's challenge. Because you're working with so many people in the crew to try to assemble this story that people will find not only interesting, but might touch them on some level. That's what drives me. I love it. I can't get enough of it. Heather will tell you. there's Heather, my girls, and then there's film. That's it.
And so, we'll debate the order on that.
Yeah.
No, Heather has learned to love it and embrace it as much as you have, because
you know, I certainly have the background. I as Chris has gotten more involved, like, you know, first it was screenwriting, and then I got involved just as a copy editor and then story editor, and then like we would rewrite things and got into the filmmaking. So as Chris has progressed through each stage, I've learned more myself. But, you know, Chris is just a creative person at heart. He's not happy if he doesn't have a project of some sort in the works.
Mhm.
So it's not even so much a matter of like what keeps him going. It's like doing the creative work is what keeps him going.
Yeah. Feed your soul.
Exactly. Very much.
Yeah. Steve McKenna wants to know, do you have any new projects coming up, or is the focus on pushing Pipe Dream? We just said that.
Well, Pipe Dream is nearing the end of its film festival run. We still have yet to hear from about 20 more film festivals, so we'll see. Otherwise, all of my focus is on the Dorothea Puente feature film.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, writing the script and learning more about what possibilities are beyond the script.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's a lot of sitting on the couch, going through the story page by page with a pen.
Let's see. I got a couple of questions. What was Pipe Dream shot on? What camera? What did you use?
It was the Red series. So whether it was the Scarlet or the Weapon, we kind of bounced back and forth because of what was available. And Aaron Leong and Ryan Black. Ryan Black is the co-executive producer of this whole thing. His contribution is just immeasurable with regard to equipment and everything. And again, that's a whole part of, hey, we're making a film. Who wants to join us? So the Red series is what we shot on. And although I love Red, I'm looking forward to working with other formats, ARRI or what have you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Ryan is the only one on your crew that I haven't worked with. Everybody else, I was just giddy over what kind of a assembly you had there. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, Eric Wheeler is online. Hi.
We're gonna let him through.
He wants to know, what do you like best? Writing, directing, shooting, or editing? It's a good question.
I think that's like making him choose a child.
No, actually, that's easy to answer. It's directing. Directing is my favorite. It used to be writing a long time ago.
And at some point it was editing.
Yeah, but directing is my favorite. It's crafting a performance with an actor. That's a wonderful, intimate relationship that you have. And I've never experienced that kind of high before, and directing. Yeah, I love it. It's why I want to make films. Sure, I'll write the screenplay and we'll budget it and all that and get it all together, but it's the directing I can't wait to do. Love it.
Yeah, I just knowing you, if somebody asked me that question, I would say that with writing in a close second.
Mm-hmm.
If I was to guess.
Yeah.
That's what I see where you really excel and do things in a consistently amazing way. Getting a lot of comments calling out Aaron Leong and what an amazing badass he is. That's undeniable, I gotta say. That is no question. And let's see. Who else? Oh, we should, one of these days we should screen Awakening.
That was a while ago.
That was a short film that I helped produce, and is that the only time we worked together?
That is, I believe. Yeah.
Our first film up here in SAC.
That was like 13 years ago. Yeah. Can you believe already?
Wow. Yeah, you got an assembly of films. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Anybody else got any questions for Chris? Oh, Aaron's finally stepping up. He loves you guys. I owe you. You'll be able to see all of his comments on, you can see it if you hit comment on your screen, Chris, but on Facebook.
Okay.
Will continue. So,
yeah.
And then one of the things that we'll have is a link to this that we can also put out to, whatever platform we want to. We'll have it on our website, on Facebook. Let's see. Oh, Ed, he wants to bring Jennifer out. Let's see. What should our film commissioner know or do? That's a good question.
What should our film commissioner know?
Know or do?
I'm not in any place to be telling a film commissioner what to do or how to discover it. I don't know. I don't have an answer to that one. Do you?
I don't think we know enough to comment.
Yeah, stumped.
Well, I think as you get into your feature film production, you're going to learn what a resource and asset your film commissioner can be. So if you haven't already met her, Jennifer West, or Heather and Chris, incredible person on our home team now that as you're going through those waters for the first time and needing things that you haven't necessarily needed before.
Right.
You know, yeah, she's a good team.
Yeah, certainly as the Pointe feature film project develops, we'll be speaking, I'm sure, a lot more with Jennifer and with Beverly and the various film offices.
Yes, Beverly wanted me to tell you specifically. She wanted to be here, but she had another thing. She'll catch up on the video. You know, lots and lots of people that were really excited about hearing from you, but we all kind of just love to know that other people are out there and we're not all. All right. Let's see. Ed says, how do we help the pipeline of films? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Pipeline? Can you define the pipeline of films?
Yeah, how do we help the pipeline of films? So I think what Ed is speaking out specifically is kind of from inception to financing to creation to distribution, right, Ed? The pipeline, that kind of a pipeline of films. That's one of the struggles that all of the filmmakers have, is kind of flowing through that pipeline easily and not getting hung up in one of those areas. So anybody who's doing it, and if they have ideas about how to best navigate that, is what you're asking for.
Okay, I've got an easy answer for it. It's going to sound cheesy and kind of on the nose, but CFAA. We wouldn't have accomplished any of our films without CFAA. We met everyone through CFAA.
That makes me so happy. That makes me so happy.
If you're not a member of CFAA, you're depriving yourself of every single resource you could possibly have, from cinematographers to set dress to audio. Everybody. So our pipeline is simple. I mean, you have to write a script that is compelling, cheese-free, meaning cliche, as much cliche-free as possible, and something short, something between 9 to 13 minutes. Yeah, sure, our film is 19 minutes, but we kind of have, fortunately, a track record of making some quality films. And that pipeline is just keeping your film short and talking to everybody, from you, Lori, to us. People, you know, we're watermarkfilms.net. You can email us with any kind of questions, and I answer questions all the time from people who email us. So, and then distribution, that's a whole nother animal after you do film festival. So that's a complex question. It's a good question, but a very complex one. But you can always get something answered by someone here in town. Everyone knows someone who has the answer and the resources to be able to make your projects.
Yeah, I agree. Chris Laird's asking about AB5, but I don't. That will probably come up as an issue with the making of your feature film. Do you know anything about that and how
not enough to comment? No, huh?
That's still kind of a squishy moving target where, you know, how it's affecting people and what's bound to change is still kind of out there.
Right.
I think, you know, as you start getting into serious payment for, you know, feature films or roles with
right.
capability, you'll have to learn a lot more about that. But
yeah. And that's part of the whole process that I find so fantastic too. Going to every different kind of level of filmmaking, whether it's budget or the scope of how successful our films are becoming. I love this whole process of learning more and more and more. Again, Heather and I don't know a heck of a lot at all. about this next level of this Dorothea Pointe feature film. But we're sponges, though. We love learning about it all, even if it's daunting. Oh, my God. So be it. It's the next challenge. Bring it on.
Yeah. Well, right now we're all at home. What more do we got to do? Let's see. Jennifer is jumping off to feed her family. Didn't want me to judge because it's already 8 o'clock. But yes, Jennifer, I'm judging you. Your family is hungry.
Yeah, we often end up with dinner around this time too.
Yeah.
Seriously, I know. She wants to connect with you this week, so I can make sure you have each other's information if you don't already. But yeah, she's a great connection to make, and we're all working to build a better mousetrap here.
Right.
So we're gonna let me see what other announcements I have. Oh, so this CFAA Film Talk. We're going to try and kind of produce something almost every Tuesday. This coming Tuesday on May 19th, we have a conversation with producer Robin Kincaid. I've posted information on our website that gives you actually access to a free chapter of her video series on how to become a successful production assistant. And you might laugh because you think that's such an entry-level job. On the other hand, if you don't do that well, you're not going to get on board kind of set and then elevate your craft from there. So she's incredible. I've seen her course. I think you guys will totally enjoy it. So that's next Tuesday at 7 o'clock live again like this. And then so our authors group and our film group, we're not meeting in person. Our writers group is still meeting online. So if anybody has interest about that, you can still join that virtual group. And as soon as I said writers group, somebody should have jumped in to say, yay! And nobody did. That makes me sad because that always happens. Anyway, we have 2 things that are happening with the CFAA until business opens up again. We're hoping that people who are not members will join. If you do join today, it helps us, of course, but your membership won't actually start. For anybody who has a membership, their membership is being frozen to start up again when we can open doors after the coronavirus limitations are letting us, back in. Yeah. So that's kind of cool. You can join as a member, get all the benefits, and still not have it kick into play until we're ready to get back to business. You can also, for the first time, we have a donate button on our website, and you can enter any amount into that. We've already had some really great donations coming in and comments from people. So that's a really good way to be able to help us as well. The other thing we have is, I don't know if you can see it. We have a shirt. See? Oh, wait. Oh. Here's.
You got the new shirts.
Ron? Good. Oh, pretty cool. So we, of course, ordered everything and had it delivered right about the time that the COVID shut us down. So we have cool new shirts, we have some graphics, we have stuff that we're creating on this end. Now we have the CFAA Film Talk. Chris and Heather, thank you so much for being a part.
Thanks for having us.
You're our guinea pigs for doing this the first time, and I am super excited now that I know what to expect to talk with you again next week with Robin Kincaid. So nice. I love you all.
Thanks. And thanks to everybody who joined us here tonight.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us. Yeah.
Thank you. Yay, CFAA.